Hey everyone, hope your day is going well. Hope you're looking forward to the weekend and it goes well for you. Um, just a kind of more of an update today instead of and maybe a little bit of a devotion as we move forward. I'm not going to move verse by verse through anything, but I thought it would be good to, well, to just say I was excited and intrigued, at least encouraged yesterday to see the possibility, or at least a phased reopening plan introduced by the premier yesterday. So obviously it's a long road, and before it even I think begins to affect us as a church, but it's encouraging to see that of course they're working through and thinking about that sort of thing. And we of course need to be as cautious as possible, but it's good to hear and good to continue to move forward as we try to think about what life looks like in the months and the months ahead. At any rate, this weekend we are moving forward in the Joseph narrative, and we're getting to a more deeply into the narrative, and coming to a spot that's probably a bit more familiar to you as we talk about uh, Joseph and Potiphar's wife. And one idea that comes up in that story, in all of Joseph's story, really is the idea of providence. Providence is a really difficult idea for us to sort of wrap our minds around, because we believe that God orchestrates and is in control of everything, and yet the Bible tells us as well that He is completely and wholly good. Really, it is a doctrine that is meant to give us comfort and recognize purpose in our lives. In the Heidelberg Catechism, Lord's Day, I'm sure I'll refer to this in the script in the sermon as well, but Lord's Day 10 really comes into a deep picture of what providence is and how comfort it is meant for us. So let me just read question and answer 27 here for us today. It says, what do you understand about the providence of God? Providence is the almighty and ever-present power of God, by which he upholds as with his hand heaven and earth and all creatures, and so rules them that leaf and blade, rain and drought, fruitful and lean years, food and drink, health and sickness, prosperity and poverty, all things in fact come to us not by chance, but by his fatherly hand. Now we could see two things in this. First and foremost, that this, as I mentioned, this is meant to give us comfort. Catechism says it comes to us by his fatherly hand, right? And it allows us to recognize that God has some sort of working in our lives in every detail. This is much different than sort of the modern notion of God in our culture today. Right? We tend to think of God as being removed, or at least our culture does, removed from us. And maybe he just wound us up and let us go. And everything that happens from there is completely up to us. But Providence tells us otherwise. It says everything comes from God's fatherly hand. And so that's meant to give us comfort. Not only is it meant to give us comfort, it's meant for us to recognize and understand the purpose in it as well. Right? If it comes from God's hand, then we recognize that all things work according to his purposes, and so therefore everything we do has meaning, it has purpose beyond which we can even begin to understand. And we know this is true from Romans chapter 8, verse 28, right? Where it says it says that all things work together for our good, for those who have been called according to his purposes, right? All these things work out in his purposes. So I hope that brings you comfort, and I hope it helps you to recognize your purpose in this world as well, and that God is using you and working through you in ways that we can't even begin to understand. Well, many blessings today, and I hope things are going well. As always, I hope you're able to get out and enjoy some nice fresh air and enjoy time with the family as well. Many blessings, and we will see you this weekend.